27-minute comedy hour. It's like what you see on TV, except that it's online. 27-minute comedy hour. Everything in a comedy hour except half the time.
And welcome to the 27-minute comedy hour. This week I'm joined by the wonderful host of Whole Lot of Comedy podcast, Elaine Blackmore. And we've got Rabia Kuhn and Phil Wathen, our old friends, back with us again. So happy to have you guys back. But first, in the news this week, well, the news today, guys, has been dominated by just one topic, and that is the death of Prince Philip. Passing has come as a shock to many of us, not least myself, who have totally lost out on my royal debt sweepstake. Oh, Jesus. I mean, I had him crashing his car into the Queen at Sandringham, not dying peacefully in his bed at Windsor. Jesus. I think that's taken us all by surprise, hasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? But no, the Duke of Edinburgh was a man who was never afraid to speak his mind. The palace, however, were often fucking terrified by what he might say. In other news, and has been some other news, there's been an investigation into Tiger Woods' car crash and revealed that he didn't even brake as he crashed the car at 80 miles per hour in a 30 zone. His lawyers will now claim that it was actually a tribute to the Duke of Edinburgh. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm really pleased to be joined by our wonderful guest this week. And our first game this week that we're up to, ladies and gentlemen, is crackpot comments. Now, in a game of crackpot comments, I've been trawling the internet, looking at all the news stories and looking for the best comments that people have been coming up with. But I'm going to present my comedians with a comment out of context. So can they work out what our comedians, what we could be joking about here today? So our first story, or our first comment is, that's a brawl, majorly. Ooh, let's make sure that's in the stream. There we go. That's a brawl, majorly disappointed here. What could this person be commenting?
I feel like it's like Barcelona FC fans looking at American football fans, basically.
Just any football related brawl. You hear the word brawl for any other sport, you imagine bloody noses and teeth go missing, and football.
Well, I'm thinking more rugby, you see, because the rugby's on at the moment, and I think the way England have been performing, there's definitely going to be a brawl there.
Oh yeah. What would a rugby brawl look like? Like I just can't. I feel like the audience at a rugby match are just way too posh to ever fight. Like,
well, this is the thing I've always loved about rugby brawls is they're genuinely violent. But then it's like shaking someone's hand saying, that is an excellent black eye you've given me. Well done.
Yeah. Meanwhile, disagreements in the fans. It's like, I should push over your picnic hamper. I thought this might. You remember the horned guy from the Capitol Hill riots? I thought this might be him watching the Kill the Bill protests here.
That's true too.
Just generally, I guess anything that we've done has been Trump, pardon the pun, but trumped by anything that happened in the Capitol. So I think they probably will be looking disapprovingly at any of our riots.
Yeah. Anyone got any other suggestions what this might be about?
I think any boxing match that involves YouTubers, definitely. Jake Paul and what's his brother called? Yeah,
absolutely. I thought this might be someone from the police after kettling a protest, only to learn that the hippies thought huddling together would be a really much better alternative to greenhouse gases for heating. Okay, then maybe our second story of the day will help the comedians out, because our second story, ladies and gentlemen, or our second comment, and this is from the same story, so maybe this will help them out, is uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. I would like to pre-apologise because I did choose this long before Prince Philip died. So any of the following jokes that come up, entirely not my fault. Ladies and gentlemen,
well,
what could this person be commenting on?
I was going to say, I did assume that it was probably a little bit too soon to be the royal family. They do feel sorry for Charles, particularly on the royal family front, though. Like, obviously, it's horrible for anyone to lose a parent, but it's got to be doubly horrible to feel like it was the wrong parent, you know.
I was kind of thinking, like, This is never was cast as Philip in season 7 of The Crown.
And I just think, what is Meghan thinking at the moment, really? It's did they quit too soon? I don't know.
Yeah. I thought it might be some of the queens on RuPaul's Drag Race trying to psych each other out. Them bitches shady.
Yeah, I think any comedy answers have been trumped by the actual news today. I think, anything you've come up with today has just been eclipsed.
All right, then. Is it just bald people?
Well, yes. That would be very hard, wouldn't it? Wearing a crown with bald and around. That would... Perhaps this is like an Easter one with the crown of thorns.
Could be. Does anyone reckon they know what this story actually comes from this week, ladies and gentlemen? Anyone reckon they've got
this was some sort of beauty pageant where they erupted into a fight.
Absolutely. This is the Mrs. Sri Lanka beauty queen who was injured in an onstage bust-up. You can check out the video if you head over to the BBC iPlayer. But yeah, this is this is the story of the least dramatic brawl that has ever taken place on the stage of Mrs. Sri Lanka competition, when the crown was forcefully, also quite slowly removed from Bridget de Silva's head by 2019 winner Caroline Jury, as she cited a rule that the winner couldn't be divorced. Being a bitch apparently didn't disqualify you. Mrs. De Silva has said that she is being treated for head injuries. Presumably, this is just a code for getting psychotherapy. But guys, do we have a little look at the story? What do we think about this?
Well, I was actually looking at the photo there of the one who actually gets crowned in the end, who had her hand up with her nose. It was like, who's farted? I'm sure. Or, oh my God, my divorce comes through tomorrow. Aren't I lucky? Imagine the crown going down the line.
Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? Like one by one, they all found out that their husbands were cheating with all the other wives. They all get divorced over the course of the competition. Could you imagine? There's a script for a sitcom, isn't there?
It's a hell of a strategy to ensure that you win. It's a hell of a send in Russell Brand or something just to make sure that everyone else gets disqualified.
Well, it just seems like a weird rule. I mean, of like, you can't be divorced, but you can be any kind of person, like you said. I actually, Miss Ukraine got lost her crown before because she had a kid. And it is like not okay to be a single mom. So that lady's actually doing a bunch of work, like doing stuff for kids in Ukraine, but also doing work about this because it's crazy. Like, but I bet if she had chosen not to be a single mom, it would have been okay. Oddly enough.
Yeah. You know what, Ray? I feel it really difficult with all these like pageant things, right? Because like part of you is like, this is like a terrible thing. We're judging women based on their looks. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then also there's another part of me that's going, but these women want to do it. And who am I to say that they can't go and do it? But then also you hear about these moments where you're just like, oh, but it's just wrapped up in such awful values. Like the whole thing, like they feel like they can treat each other like that. And like whether a woman is divorced or separated, like makes a difference as to whether she's just a woman who is beautiful. Like the whole thing is mental. Like, and I don't know how to feel about it. I find it very conflicting. Thank you. Pageants.
I think it's super annoying because I don't even want to have empathy for these women because I've never been anything like these women. No one will ever put me in a beauty contest, but now I have to have empathy for these women and like pick up for them. And I'm like, why do I have to do this?
I've never blatantly all the bitches at school as well who never gave a shit about anyone else.
I think the big thing I thought reading the headline was, to me, I just thought, what a great idea that sounds like. Let's amend like Miss World and let's have like an MMA cage fighting round. You know what I mean? A bit where it's just they can each use a fighting style suited to represent their country. You know what I mean? Here comes Miss Japan using karate to fight Mrs. Rail using Krav Maga.
I tell you what, Phil, it would make a great episode of Toddlers and Tiaras. Okay, that moves us on to our stand-up round. I'm fucking pleased with that. I'm going to be positive about that joke. This moves us on to our stand-up round then, folks. So in our stand-up round, I'm going to present my comedians with a topic, and they've got to try and be funny on it for 3 minutes. So I'm going to set my old timer, get it ready, and I'm going to present my comedians with our first topic, which is going to be Facebook trolling. Who'd like to take on Facebook trolling?
I could probably do that. I like to troll, so yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, I actually, I don't know about anyone else, but I do a lot of Facebook trolling. And what I mean by that is I kind of sit in the comment section with a red pen and just kind of correct grammar, basically. You know, I considered it my contribution to American democracy during the election, and even now, I mean, people say really racist stuff, and I just tell them, "Hey, you spelled your incorrectly." So, you know, that's kind of how I handle things. I also, you know, people will post those things like about something like horrible, like cancer or something, and say, if you don't post this and tag 10 friends, then you don't care about cancer. And I'm just like, that's not really true. But I always just write in their comment section, can you make this shareable? Because I just figure like, it'll waste some of their time and it'll make me happy. And it just shows that I do care about something, maybe, you know, but it's pretty funny. But I mean, I don't know. Facebook's just tough. I do like Facebook. I get a lot of memories come up in Facebook. A picture of my grandma came up recently, and I'm kind of glad she wasn't around for this whole pandemic thing. Because I think it would have been, well, it would have been kind of like how she was anyway. We kind of didn't visit her enough. But still, it would have been a bummer. But she used to do something kind of funny. Like she used to get her hometown newspaper and she would go through the paper and just go straight to the obituaries and then start circling people. And I always thought that was super aggressive until I realized now she was just like low-key stalking her exes. Like, kind of like I was doing on Facebook too. And so I just kind of had more respect. I thought, oh yeah, your exes are probably in an obituary when you're 90 years old. You know what I mean? So it's fine. You know, but also I don't know if anyone else did this, but it's not really trolling, but it's more like almost trolling. Cause I couldn't, you know, you don't want to like get really like deep comment someone that you haven't talked to in 5 years because you looked at their old photos. But I did start ranking like where I am versus where my exes are and kind of like our status. And I really found out like I actually did like get the better deal on almost all of them. There's one I regret, who's married, but I'm still thinking about just commenting on something and seeing how it floats, you know, a like or a heart maybe. And I don't know if that'd be called trolling, but I think it'd just be like really a clever way of being a homewrecker. You know, it's like digital home wrecking. But, I saw too, Facebook has those secret messages you can send, but it kind of creeps me out because it's like, if you're going to do that, you obviously know you're doing something wrong. So just stop doing it, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of me on trolling, I think.
Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, Rabia Kuhn. Fantastic. Okie dokie then. That was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I found trolling kind of really helped me through the first lockdown. And the second one, I've had to cool it a little bit. Because now I'm like, yeah, hopefully I'm starting to make a little bit of a name for myself doing this kind of stuff. And now I don't want to be seen as that guy who's also a dick. Like, because, you know, the things you comment on come up in other people's things. Yeah. I don't want to like keep having that come up on things. It's best to get away from it. So, we're going to talk more about trolling in the podcast, I think. This is going to be a good topic.
Good. Yeah, because I forgot something.
Cool. All right, then. We're going to bring us to our next topic, then. Our next topic is going to be holidays. What's stepping on holidays?
Well, I'll step in on holidays because we haven't had many holidays recently, have we? But so I'll tell you about the last one that my husband and I went on. We went up to Scotland. We stayed at the Key Royale, which overlooked the Highland Park. It was dark and stormy when we arrived there. Hurricane winds. In the car park was a mudslide. Well, the receptionist, Johnny Walker, he was a real hot toddy, so I knew immediately I was going to like the Scotch. There was a boy by the fire with a ball nearby. I said, "Oh, is that the dog's ball?" They said, "Yes, it's Bailey's." Well, the following day there was going to be a wedding. And Stella, originally from Manhattan, she was going to marry Glenn Fiddick. They'd met when they were at university and tenants together. The day came and she arrived on a pony. It was a little horse with a big kick. Well, it certainly buck fast. There was an old peculiar man next to her who I could only assume was her father, because he said, "Have courage, best man has just arrived." He was a dear. They said he was Jamie's son, Tom Collins. The bridesmaid, dressed in white, had a bouquet of red roses, crimson tied in a pretty bow. Now, the bridesmaids, they were dressed in blue, none of them married, although I did hear talk of a baby sham. They had their photos taken by the Blue Lagoon, which was really just a silent pool, but quite hypnotic. Tarquin wasn't there. He was noticed by his absence. They had pins at the reception and toasted the bride and groom with champagne. No jokes there whatsoever, but they're in every wedding, so I just chucked them in. Food was amazing. They even managed to cater for Celia and Dora, who are both gluten-free. Well, their first dance was the tango, and then everybody joined in with the Gay Gordons, and they finished off singing along to the Pina Colada song. Everything was going fantastic until Jack Daniels turns up with Mary. Bloody Mary, did she whine? He was like a mad dog, called her a red-headed whore. She said, "I'd like to smash your blue balls against the rocks." It was a nightmare. "Might I suggest you leave," said the best man, which fortunately they did. And it all ended up just being a port in a storm, but what a palaver. One of the bridesmaids started to cry, and Martini sat down beside her, and he said, "Try that tear, Maria." And she looked through her pink floss lipstick and said to him, "Oh, I'd like to whisk you away for a quickie. You make me laugh a flow." And he said, "Whoa, whoa, my sherry. You're a bonny lass, but you do bonny for me. And I don't need a one-night stand." And off he walked into the moonshine. Oh, well, she thought it was worth a shot. There were going to be a lot of sore heads in the morning, but that's okay. They could get a painkiller from Dr. Pepper. Well, the time came for them to leave, for the bride and groom to leave for their honeymoon. So they went to Malibu. And she said, "Oh, I can't wait for you to bury me in the sand." But all he ever wanted was sex on a beach. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elaine Blackmore. Okay, that was fantastic. All right then, that leaves us with Mr. Wathen. Right, Mr. Wathen, what's your topic going to be? Your topic is going to be health and fitness.
Okay, yeah, no, cool. That's not a bad topic, because I am a very unhealthy person, so that's good. To give you an idea of just how unhealthy I am, I can honestly say that both the furthest and fastest that I've run in about the past 5 years was running away from a fox whilst trying to protect the kebab that I was eating at the time. I'm sure anyone watching from rural areas may previously have looked at ways to protect chickens from foxes. One thing I've learned is covering them in chili sauce and wrapping them in pita bread doesn't dissuade them in the slightest. In my life, I've always been against fox hunting, but those morals really do get tested when you've stood drunk and sweaty out in the road in the middle of the night in only one shoe, frantically Googling the phrase, "Can I legally kick a fox in the face?" But I'm pleased to say that I did eventually make it home with my kebab intact. However, when I woke up the next day, having sobered up, I was a bit paranoid that someone might have witnessed this whole event. I'd end up in the newspapers the next day. So I did a quick Google search for Fox News to check. There's just a lot of stories about how bad immigrants are. So I think I got away with it first. I wasn't always unhealthy. Once upon a time, I actually used to make my living in boxing rings until I lost my job at H. Samuel. In my defense, how was I supposed to know that wasn't the pearl necklace that she was after? Tried a lot of different I've tried a lot of different kind of things around getting healthier over the years. Tried out Weight Watchers for a bit. Downside of Weight Watchers is how long it takes waiting around for your turn at the weigh-in. But I found a little tip for that is that you can clear that queue with a well-timed phone call if you just set your ringtone to an ice cream van jingle. Tried following a principle to always ask about the kind of source and the conditioning of the meat that you buy. But it turns out asking, are your chickens free range or battery farmed to a kebab van at 3 a.m. is optimistic at best. Foxes don't seem to mind them too much though. So I thought I'd try getting healthy again recently. Ordered loads of healthy food to be delivered. Now, whenever something you order isn't available, the supermarket is supposed to provide you with a suitable alternative. Unfortunately, I've discovered Asda's idea of a suitable alternative differs from mine. I had a delivery that went like this. You ordered 1 cos lettuce. We substituted with 1 iceberg lettuce. Fair enough. You ordered spinach. We substituted with 1 iceberg lettuce. You ordered cucumber. We substituted with 1 iceberg lettuce. I'll spare you all 11 substitutions. Needless to say, I then had a fridge with enough iceberg to sink the Titanic. I was just glad that the toilet paper wasn't out of stock that day, as I think I know what they would have seen as a suitable alternative to work with. But I did get into one good routine, kind of exercise routine, just before lockdown started. Every day, without fail, hit the gym, hit the weights, hit the pool. And people thought that those names were the cruelest thing I do to those kids. All right, that'll do. Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Wathen. Excellent. All right, then. We are pressed for time, so we're going to switch straight on with our next game. Our next game is a game of #heathens. Now, in #heathens, I take a trending topic from Twitter, but I've removed the hashtag. And my comedians tell me what hashtag this person might have been using. So, our first one is, I'd rather there was a ban of blank in schools.
I'm going to jump straight in with the most obvious. Is it #Prince Andrew? I do feel bad making that joke today. Obviously, with the death of his father, Prince Andrew is said to be pretty much inconsolable. Although he has apparently said that if the local high school netball team want to try and console him, he'll let them have a go.
I don't know. I'm having the darkest thought, I guess. So I'm just gonna say I'm thinking about the state. So I'm gonna say guns.
I'd rather there was a ban #teachers.
I think there's one person on this call that will disagree with that.
Yeah, well, to be perfectly honest, speaking as a teacher, I went for #children. Because I tell you, the days they're not in, I get so much done. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
If it was my nephew, he'd be like #pottery. He hates going to pottery.
#pottery. Is that the most middle class? Do pottery class. I really hate it. I used to really enjoy it. All right, then. Maybe our next one will help. Then, what about this? My teacher would quite rightly tell blank to fuck off. A teenager would quite rightly tell blank to fuck off.
#Boris.
I think based on my teenage years, I'd probably say #anything and #everything.
I just keep thinking of Piers Morgan because I never #Piers Morgan. Just I never said anything the other week when he told himself. So, yeah.
I thought it might be one of those mums that they're one of those mums that like eat cigarettes for dinner. I thought she might just be having like #vegetables. All right then. Does anyone reckon they know what this story is about?
Yeah, I think this is the one where they were trying to ban mobile phones in schools.
Yeah, absolutely. This is Gavin Williamson and the Education Secretary who has decided that it's the right time to ban phones in schools. Okay, so this is Gavin Williams back to mobile phone ban in schools and claims children have lacked discipline during lockdown. So our two comments were, I'd rather there was a ban of Gavin Williamson in schools, and my teenager would quite rightly tell Gavin Williamson to fuck off. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sir Gavin Williams. This is Gavin Williamson, not Sir Gavin Williamson, who has decided to make behaviour his next task at schools. After all, his predecessors have already fucked up exams, ruined the curriculum, and slashed the budgets. So he doesn't have many options left to leave his mark on the education system, does he? So part of his call is to ban phones in school, despite having spent the last year making it literally our job to make sure everything is achievable from kids from their mobile phones in schools. He has cited 22 lead schools that will help guide other schools on behaviour to improve. Now, I've heard about a few of these schools, and I'll be perfectly honest, they sound a bit shit. The plans have received criticism, but Mr. Williamson defended claims, saying there's nothing Dickensian about a well-ordered classroom. I suppose that all depends on the context of the words well-ordered, doesn't it? Because to me, it sounds a little bit Hitler. Guys, that brings us pretty much to the end of the show. I'll tell you what, we're going to get into Gavin Williamson and his decision to ban the school in the podcast, because we're gonna have to get a lot done in the podcast. But it's going to be fun. You know what? 20 minutes is only a guidance for that. Guys, have you guys got any exciting gigs or anything that we can see coming up? Anyone doing anything in the future?
Hopefully shortly, whole lot of comedy are coming up, and with a few gigs. We're just waiting for the dates to be able to get out live again. So follow us on there on the Facebook page and podcasts. Awesome.
Rabia?
Yeah, I actually am gonna do Brighton Fringe and Camden Fringe. Still sorting out the venue for Camden, but Brighton got 2 dates. And my show is gonna be called Nice Try. I'm
awesome.
Another person. So
when are you down there?
Brighton, it's like the first week and the last week, but I can't remember the exact dates. So the first.
You'll have to let me know when you're down there the last week, because I'm down there the last week too.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I'd love.
Yeah, I'll come over and see.
All right,
yeah, awesome.
Super.
Phil?
Yeah, just a couple more online things and hopefully actual real life gigs. Reach out and touch people, that kind of thing.
Yay! So exciting, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us. This. As always, we would like to remind you to go and check out Seldom Seam, our wonderful sponsors for the show, who create handmade goods made with love and care. A massive thanks, as always, to my 3 wonderful guests, Elaine Blackmore, Rabia Kuhn, and Phil Watham. Please go and check them out. Thanks so much for joining us. If you want to help us out, ladies and gentlemen, please go and make sure you share us, tell all your friends about us, get other people involved, and follow us on there. As always, 20 minutes more. Unfortunately, this week's 20 minutes more will be available tomorrow morning, not this evening, because I have not had a chance to upload it yet.
It's the 27-minute comedy hour. It's like what you see on TV, except it's online. 27-minute comedy hour. Everything in a comedy hour except half the time.